Recorded Books presents Commune, Rendezvous with God, Volume 3, by Bill Myers. Narrated by the author. For Craig Sturgis, humble, self-sacrificing warrior. Find out about prayer. Somebody must find out about prayer. Albert Einstein. Part 1. Chapter 1. Oh, look at that. What a lovely surprise. You know, I bet not everyone can produce something like this. I mean, look at that. And the creamy, smooth texture? That's really something. Amber, my 14-year-old niece, and I were into week 2 of raising her newborn, little Billie Jean. And we were following the baby books to the letter. Well, what we managed to remember in our sleep-deprived states. And, since you can never start too early in deepening the child-parent bond and building your child's self-esteem, we celebrated each and every diaper disaster as if it were a major piece of art. "You've really got a talent, young lady," I said. I couldn't be prouder. Not only did this increase Billie Jean's self-esteem, but forcing myself to view her work with a positive spin had all but eliminated my rookie retchings. The good news was, by today I'd clearly managed to distinguish the front of the diaper from the back, so do-overs were no longer an issue. Why they're not clearly labeled with an F and a B is beyond me. The bad news was, as I removed the masterpiece and set it too close, her little hand darted into the goop. She flung it high into the air. And turned my white sweatshirt into modern splatter art. Come on, are you serious? But, as the devoted student, I immediately checked my tone and found something to praise. That's quite an arm you have there. I smiled as I wiped my neck with the back of my wrist. As she ran her hand through her hair, all right, this time I did throw up, but just a little in my mouth. I'd like to say Amber and I had settled into a routine, but that would imply we had goals and knew what we were doing. We didn't. Not in the slightest. For me, success was getting more than 2 hours sleep at a time, any time, day or night. And yes, I'll admit Amber and I played possum, pretending to be asleep so the other would have to come to Billie Jean's rescue. Unfortunately, Amber wasn't pretending. The poor kid was beyond exhaustion. Me too. I don't want to trivialize the tortures of waterboarding, but force any enemy of the state to spend 2 weeks taking care of a newborn, and let's see how soon they start talking. When it came to crying, there was no end to the baby book's advice, and to their contradictions. Some said, pick her up when she's crying. Others said, leave her and teach her independence. Others insisted the child should be rocked, while others said, scoop her up every time she whimpers and lay her down every time she stops. Following that last piece of advice meant I could cancel my gym membership, which I never use anyway. Amber, for her part, took to parenting like a duck to water. For the first time in her adolescent life, she realized there was someone in the world other than herself. That didn't mean she didn't slack when she could, but for the first time since she moved in with me last Christmas, I saw the faintest seeds of responsibility taking root. And breastfeeding? She loved it. And not just because she now had a hot figure to show off. She loved the whole process. While well, let's just say there were times my middle-aged sensibilities redefined the term awkward. To my credit, just once and only once, I ventured to ask, have you ever thought of bottle feeding? You're kidding me, she scorned. You know the trauma, the emotional scarring that causes and how it follows a person through their whole entire life? I was bottle-fed. She gave me a look. Point made. Anyway, after cleaning Billie Jean, wasn't that exciting? Aren't we having fun? The next step involved getting her into her little outfit with its dozen microscopic snaps that must be snapped in exactly the right order. Like the diapers, labeling would be appreciated. Maybe color coding, anything to prevent us sausage finger types from finally completing the task only to discover that we were off one snap and would have to start over. I don't want to say Billie Jean took over my life. That ship sailed last Christmas when Amber moved in. Now I was just looking for scraps of wreckage to cling to. Moments I could collapse onto the sofa, or chair, or floor, finding respite in my treasured first edition books, though it meant climbing across the mountains of unused baby gifts that had taken over my library/ex-bedroom, or just finding a job. Not that losing work was the baby's fault. I managed to accomplish that all on my own, shooting my mouth off to a press that twisted my words to sound as if I blamed the victim of an alleged rape. After the campus demonstration against me, and yes, there was a demonstration, the university was smart enough to put me on a leave of absence until things cooled down. The problem was, things weren't cooling down. After Sean's suicide, the alleged perpetrator, and my best friend, things only grew worse. Student protests grew louder and larger. Within days, I'd not only become Sean's proxy for their outrage, but the poster child for every sexist, misogynist of my generation. In short, I'd put my foot in it, all the way up to my neck. Earlier, when Yeshua said he would free me of finding self-worth in what people thought, he wasn't kidding. It's hard to find self-worth when you have zero market value as a human being. And my work? We've seen the news footage. We've read the transcripts, Dr. DeVos, the vice-chancellor, said earlier by phone. By phone, because my presence on campus was too hot an issue. And since you've broken no law or morality clause, the tenure committee feels there are no grounds for dismissal, technically. Technically, I said? Will, the media isn't letting go of this one, nor is the academic community. I'm receiving calls and emails from universities across the country, and from more than one local politician. What exactly are you saying? He paused, then continued. We can't fire you. We don't want to fire you. But every day you stay on faculty, our reputation is dragged further into the mud. The registrar's office says we're already experiencing a decrease in next year's enrollment. Because of me? More silence. So, I tried keeping an even voice, you're suggesting what? That I should quit? That's your decision, Will. We'll do all we can for you at this end, but I know you love and believe in this institution as much as we do. So, well, as I said, it's your decision. The conversation had been last Tuesday, and 48 hours ago I sent in my letter of resignation, complete with sleep-depraved typos. It was a grand gesture which everyone applauded and thought noble. It was also foolish, leaving me no source of income or unemployment insurance, something that would come in handy for my mortgage, and the alimony to Cindy, as she and her boy toy continued touring the world, and the astronomical medical bills for Billie Jean's dramatic entrance into the world. Yeshua also said I'd be free of defining myself through what I did for a living and how much money I made. So far he was 3 for 3. And maybe he had a point, because at this moment none of those mattered. Not in comparison to this amazing new life gurgling and cooing at me from the changing table. I was working on my 3rd round of aligning the snaps when my cell rang. Caller ID said it was Patricia Swenson, the faculty member who, along with Darlene, helped me deliver Billie Jean in Amber's wrecked car. Do you mind if I get that? I asked. Billie Jean blew a snot bubble as consent. I checked my hands, pulled out the phone, and wedged it against my shoulder. Hey, Patricia. Hello, Will. How are we today? Oh, pretty good. I think I squeezed in a couple hours of sleep since we last spoke. What was that, yesterday? Hard to keep track of time with all the... I meant the baby, Will. Oh, right. She's doing fine, too. I scooted the used diaper just a little further from Billie Jean's reach. She does a lot of fussing, but I guess that's normal. How's she eating? Like a horse. Poor thing can't decide whether to eat or breathe. What does that mean? After a gulp or two, she comes up gasping. There was no response. That's normal too, I said. Right? How's her color? Always the doctor, I joked. How's her color? Funny you should ask. I reached for Billie Jean's tiny hand. This morning I noticed her fingernails were kind of purple. Purple? Yes, I just figured. And her lips? Their color? I looked down at her. Mostly white. I leaned closer. Actually, they're more a faint blue. Is that a problem? All right, she said. There's no need to panic. But I want you to bundle Billie Jean up and catch the next ferry to the mainland. You want me to tell Ambrosia not to worry, but you two need to get to a baby doctor today. We don't have an appointment. I'll make sure you get in. It's that serious? Not yet. Then do it, Will. Trust me. Just do it.